Welcome to Between Dimensions with Twin Essence. I'm Lacey.
And I'm Marley, and we're your Starseed Lightworker hosts.
As collective ascension guides, we are always navigating our 3D and 5D worlds.
In other words, we're between dimensions, learning to embody our multidimensionality just like you.
During Between
Mhm.
Dimensions, you get the best of both worlds 5D conversations in a 3D format.
And today we are joined by Sandra Zatezalo. Sandra is a retreat leader, healer, and women's circle activator.
We're going to be digging
Mm.
into her journey, the spirituality of travels, being a retreat leader, and so much more.
Welcome, Sandra. We're so happy to have you today.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited. I have been watching you, connecting with you, seeing how you show up, and it is pure joy to watch you two together. I'm just really enjoying this, and I'm so honored and grateful that you asked me to come on today.
So excited to have you. Yes, and it's just really interesting how a little Instagram DM can turn into an entire relationship.
Yes, it is a magical box. And I think so many people have so many bad things to say about it. But really, if your intention is good and you're really putting light out, it's a way to grid the planet. I mean, we have to be careful because it's addictive and it can hit our dopamine receptors. But if we really stay true to our intention, we are really plugging in the planet through even through something like social media, because fire can burn a house down or it can warm your house and feed you. So it is very fiery, but I think Instagram does beautiful things and it connects people, like just as we are right now.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a good way to put it. I've never thought about that before in the fire analogy.
It is. It's very fiery, but if you really set the intention and try to put the boundaries around the fire, as in keeping it in the fireplace, and we don't always do that. We all have that moment where like, how did an hour go by? But there's so much goodness. There's so much goodness to come from it, from connecting, especially connecting light workers and people that have that same, because sometimes you don't find them in your backyard, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And just for the viewers who don't know, we've met through Instagram and we're going to be meeting each other in person in a very short period of time, actually in Croatia. So that's exciting.
Yes, and that's where I'm from. That's where I'm speaking from right now. Just had a beautiful swim in these crystal clear waters that have so much wisdom in them. And of course, as you know, my father was born in this country, so there's a deep connection and healing and just downloads when I come here. And I want to share that with other people. And I think when you can embody that frequency in a place because you really have connected, then you can also help other people come and receive those new codes, those new energies, that healing, those awarenesses. And when you're in a place that's so beautiful, so based in the Mother Earth's beauty, the water, the sky, the food, the plants, when you can really tap into that, I mean, everyone just gets the ascension. Everyone gets that. So I'm so grateful to be a channel, and I want to continue that here because it's in my DNA, literally, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. So I want to start with a spiritual topic question for the episode. So anybody viewing live, you're welcome to answer in the chat. If you're watching the replay later, you're welcome to put your answer in the comment section. But the question is, what song or piece of music
Mm.
always connects you to your highest self? Sandra, do you want to
Wow.
start with that?
It's funny because I was thinking about that, and there's so many artists that I love. An artist that I actually know really well is Lee Coulter, and he plays live. So I'm thinking when I listen to his music, because I actually know him and I've been in his energy field, and he has a song called It's a Beautiful Day on the Planet I Love.
Oh,
And that one, I would say, is one of my top favorite. Lee Coulter, look him up. He's really wonderful. He's originally from Australia. And then if I want to go really old school, I'll listen to like James Taylor, You've Got a Friend, or Byron Rain. Those are like the old school goodies. And I mean, there's just so many. And honestly, sometimes I'm bad at remembering who the artist's name is. I have playlists of songs where to me, it's the frequency, and I don't sometimes connect to all the details of what a song is, which I know some people like to deep dive and who is that person and where are they from and what's, but I'm so immersed in the music itself that sometimes I don't even know who I'm listening to. I'm going to admit. But yeah, music is definitely a way to connect back to your soul, 100%. So yeah, get those playlists going. I have so many.
I love that. Lacey and I were talking about this because we're big music people too. Because I feel like music just shifts your frequency very, very
Hmm.
quickly, and dancing does too. um, and I was like, well, I probably have to go back to like my crazy one D fanatic days when I was a teenager. Because like anything
One, two.
that like yeah one anything One Direction would put out, I loved. But I still
Mm.
like we still are huge like Harry Styles fans, Niall Horan, any of the solo music they put out. And there's a song Niall actually just released an album on Friday, so I've just been blasting that nonstop all weekend. But
Yeah.
he's got this song called Must Be Love. Oh, it's so good. You put
Mm.
it on and you're just like you need to dance. It raises the vibration. I love it.
Yes, and I really believe I think I read it somewhere is back in the day when someone either was sick or was depressed, and they would come to the wise woman or man of the tribe or of the village, and they would say, "When did you stop singing? When did you stop dancing? And when did you stop sitting on the earth and telling your story and listening to story?" And I really think that this world has lost that quite a bit. I mean, this is beautiful, like storytelling, sharing. And now we do have the interwebs to help us, but really it's the in person, right? And so when we do that and we incorporate dance and movement and singing, to our favorite song, even in the car by ourselves, it just elevates us. And that was something that was so like natural and normal back in the day. And now people are literally they dance like, I don't think I'm a good dancer. I can't dance. And like you're naturally a dancer. All children dance when they hear music, right? And when does that go away? And what does that do to your soul when it goes away? That you're not getting up every day, at least once a day, and turning on that song, right? That song, like you asked me, and just letting your body move to how it feels. I mean, this is such a beautiful way to connect your soul, get the information, get the downloads, get the ascensions, and it's available to everyone at any time. We can all even put music on our phone and start dancing. So I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. I was gonna say I'm gonna go with the trusty song "Golden" by Harry Styles. There's something about
Mm.
that frequency wise, but also like I've no shame in the game in saying that I worship at the altar of Harry Styles. I still say that to this day. I'm like,
Yes.
it's not a phase, mom.
Yes. Those are
I
for
love saying that.
lifetimes. There's some
Yeah.
music that you hear as a kid and it just does it for your whole life. It'll stay with you your whole life. It's not a phase. I completely agree. These are yeah, they bring you back in time too, and they help you remember where you've been and sometimes even where you're going because you have that back, you're rooted back in yourself through that memory, through that frequency. Yeah.
Yes. So let's start at the beginning of your story. I am curious to
Mm.
know your spiritual origin story. So, what has your relationship with spirituality been like? Has it always been there since you were a child? Did an event
Mm.
happen that kind of turned you onto it? Tell us, let's start there.
Well, I would say, and I've thought about this a lot, right, is that I was born. So I actually I'm writing a book as well. And so in the beginning of my book, I speak about when before you come down, right, you cannot see any division between oneness because you are in oneness. So when you look down, I truly believe that you pick your parents. So you look down and you look for what is activates your soul and your mission, right? So if it's beauty, if it's art, if it's creation, if you're here to like save the planet, whatever it is. So we all come with this essence, right, of who we are. So for me, it was really about beauty. Like beauty was a very important thing for me to experience and to expand on the planet when I came down. So when I looked down at Earth, I saw these two really beautiful humans, and they were in a place called Queens, right? So I'm thinking, well, who doesn't want to be a queen? They're beautiful, but all I saw was their light. I couldn't see anything else. And I thought Queens was, it's on Earth. It's called Queens. It must be good. Well, the moment I was born, I realized I made a really big kind of, yeah, like it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, right? And my parents, even though they were beautiful humans, they had a lot of trauma in them. So I think the moment, and I've done some work around my birth because it's really important to know the state of what was around you when you were born. And then you can reprogram it to whatever you want it to be. So when I did that work, I realized that I was really born into a lot of conflict and a lot of stress and a lot of trauma. So that happened. And then being shocked, literally, my soul coming down, that I'm with a woman who is my mother, who is mentally traumatized, and a father who went through a lot, had to escape Croatia, and having his father die when he was young. So I'm like, my little soul now is in the city, and I was in Queens and then in the Bronx. And I didn't sleep very much because there wasn't a lot of earth, there was a lot of artificial light, there's a lot of concrete, and I didn't know it at the time because it was all I knew, but I would stay up. I would stay awake. And also because my family was so activated in all of their life um, experiences, the only time I could really appreciate them was when they were sleeping. And I know it sounds a little crazy, but I would go around and I would watch them sleep so I could just be in a relationship with them of peace. So I spent a lot of time. I've never been a great sleeper. And during those times, sometimes when I was just sitting up, not sleeping, I would go into these portals, and they felt like black holes, and they felt like there was no time and there was no space. And the message that I got back, or what I learned from being in those places, was that there's no end to me. There's no beginning and there's no end, right? And so I had these realizations, and I think what it did for me is it gave me a lot of courage. But there was also my human side that thought, oh, maybe I'm a bit crazy. And my mom has mental issues. My mom was bipolar. And so I thought, oh, I'm never going to tell anybody any of this. This is my secret for myself. But now, as I've gotten older, I've realized that these sensitivities well, they're always gifts, but in the beginning, we don't know that, right? So that was my first glimpse at a different reality, a different way to be, in these portals. So from there, once I knew that there was no end to me, I just, I don't know, I just had that realization. It gave me some bravery. Then we moved upstate New York, and I was terrified at first because it was so dark and there was stars and the things I wasn't used to. But then I really got into connecting with the earth and connecting with plants and connecting with there was this frog pond behind my house. I collected frogs. I just got so, like, literally dirty in the earth, and I was so happy in my early teens. So I think that was the first time, was just sitting up uh, in the night and through the night for hours. And this is before cell phones, if you can imagine. So you just sit there, there's nothing else to do. And I would go into these deep, probably, states of meditation, states of trance, and was able to just reach these places it was eternity. There was no space, there was no time. And that was my first experience with, and like a mystical experience that woke me up to there's other ways to be, than just this 3D world around me, through those night journeys that I would take. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I just that's so interesting. I think like I can't even, in a way, it's like I can totally see the city in you, and I can also see you totally not in the city at all. So I totally can see like the origins there.
Yes, and because they're both there, I mean, yeah, the city. But the more I connect with myself, the more I connect with what I'm here for. It's definitely connecting with the earth, connecting with earth-based practices, connecting to the earth and the stars, as we are the channel between. We're the center of the universe, and we're here, and we need to connect to the earth, and we need to connect to the stars and our angels and our guides. And so to remember that and to do practices around that, and then to invite others in, I just can't think of anything else I'd want to do with my time.
Yeah,
Really. Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
think too, like the sensitivity, I mean, just being a sensitive person, I enjoy visiting cities, but I don't know how I would do living in it long term. Like like there's a lot of activity going on, and like as sensitive souls,
Mm.
it can be a lot of like stimulus. Yeah.
It's over for me. It's stimulated, and I just know that about myself. So you have to kind of shut down certain parts of your sensitivity, and then you're blocked, right? You're blocked from hearing your higher voice. But then there's a whole bunch of other things, because I also believe that contrast creates clarity. So sometimes, even though like you could be living the most blissful nature life, I think, get yourself in the city every once in a while so that you can get that contrast that's going to create the clarity. So I was in Manhattan like a month ago. I was in Paris for 3 days. And there's so many beautiful high energy things about it. And there's a lot of beauty, and there's a lot of humans connecting at the same time. And it's great. But I know myself now. It's 3 days. It's 3 days, and then I'm good. But that every time I do it, I get a little bit deregulated, but at the same time, it gives me more clarity to what I do want to create. So there's goodness in all of it, as long as your intention and your balancing it is there, and the awarenesses are there. You can use anything. We can use fire to burn a house down, we can use fire to warm our food and our thing. So I go into those cities with intention, and there are people there that I want to connect with, right? And so if I'm connecting with another human, I was really connecting with my daughter because she loves Paris. So to me, it's like the intention is to connect with my daughter, and this is a beautiful city. So you're going to have to navigate those sensitivities with a lot of self-love and a lot of understanding, and you're still going to go. You're not going to just say, no, like I think I could just say, no, I'm staying at my nature house with my trees and my roses and I'm never leaving. But I think there's growth there to have both and to get the clarity, trust. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm curious, like you talked about beauty being a huge draw to your soul in this
Mm.
lifetime. And is that what then drew you to modeling? Like, how did you kick off that modeling was it for you at such a young age, too?
Well, it wasn't so. I was the tomboy in the family. I have a sister that's 1 year older than me, and she was the more petite and the cute one, and the one that was pretty. I wasn't. Um, I was always said, "Oh, you're tall and you're thin. Maybe you could be a model." Like I've heard that before, but I was really busy. I needed to be very active. So the thought of like trying to, because sometimes, yeah, I was more of a tomboy. So what happened was when life kind of fell apart and I knew that my parents were divorcing, they were selling our house in upstate New York. I just thought I need to do something because things are unwinding here. So what am I going to do? And I loved, of course, I started looking at fashion magazines, and I was, in awe of that. And I thought it was kind of cool because, you're trying to find your place as being a woman and being female, and what does that mean? And there's so much programming too about that, like I have to have a certain bust size, I have to be this and that. So you're navigating that as a teenager in the United States, so it's a lot. And then you have these fashion magazines, and they're definitely having influence on you, and you're like, so you're looking at those. And then also I'm thinking I need to be independent because I don't feel safe in the situation I'm in. So through all of that, through kind of liking the beauty, but also a little bit of the programming around you have to look a certain way, all of that comes up when you're 13, 14. But I did look in the back of the magazine, and it said that Ford modeling agency had open calls, and that models make, this is back in the 80s, remember, make $150 an hour. And I thought, oh, that sounds good. Let me try to do that. So I've always had this idealism that I start at the top and I work my way down more than just starting at the bottom and working my way. So I thought if modeling doesn't work, I want to travel and I want to make my own money and I want to see the world. That I knew. So even though like I think if I had a choice and there was no obstacles like money or where I am, I probably would have learned about animals and plants, honestly, and about like more like wellness. And like helping people and learning psychology. Like that's where I would have gone. But modeling seemed really cool too. So I convinced my father to let me take the car. He drove from upstate New York to the Bronx where he would get his bus, and then he would do trips down between the Bronx and Manhattan. I'd never been to Manhattan by myself, only with my father and my sisters to see like the Christmas tree at the in the winter. To go, I think maybe one time for the parade, things like that. So I convinced him to let me go with him. He would leave at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I actually had a job at the time, and it was my 15th birthday. I had a job that's another whole story, but I could only get my birthday off. I couldn't get any other days off. So I got up at 5 a.m. and I had a friend that was coming with me that canceled at the last minute. So this was like one of those moments. It was a huge fork in the road, and how huge it was, I obviously didn't know. But I said, you know what, I'm going anyway. I had two photographs, black and white photographs, that were not even that great, but I had them. And I got on that in that car with my father. He got his bus, went down Fifth Avenue. One of the stops was in front of the Plaza Hotel on Fifth Avenue and 57th. And that is, to me, is like in a way the center of the universe for me, Fifth Avenue. And he just said, you go that way, because it was on the east side. And the bus was packed. He was just a bus driver. He had to get to them. So I got off the bus and I walked to Ford's, and basically they were very nice, but they said, no, you need much better pictures. You need, and I thought, oh, I'm such an idiot. I came all this way. I took my one day off. It's my birthday. And I thought, what was I thinking? But I've always been a gambler. So they handed me a piece of paper, and the first agency at the top of the list, that was the closest, because it was on 50, like maybe 54th and Lexington, which was just a bit over. If you know Manhattan at all, it's a very simple grade. And so I said, well, I'm not meeting dad for like another hour. This is because I didn't have a cell phone. We just knew meet at this time. Like that was it. There was no other, no other way to communicate. Oh, can you imagine? I mean, now I think of it now because we're so loyal to our cell phones and being able to call everybody to change or say what happened. There was none of that when I was a
So
teenager.
connected. Yeah, we're so connected now. But
We're
sometimes
so,
I
yeah.
mean, sometimes I do envy like just being like when we
Mhm.
didn't have the phone connection like that. In a way, you were just forced to just be and create and be in the moment.
And deal with stuff, whether you liked it or not. It wasn't even an
Yeah.
option. And because you didn't know it was an option, it wasn't something that you missed, right? Because
Mhm.
it didn't exist yet, right? It was like people before there were airplanes and there was never an airplane. They think, oh, I wish I could have flown to Europe. No, they didn't even do it. It wasn't something that they thought about. It didn't exist. So I went into the next agency, and I remember looking which way and looking down the hallway and seeing this office with all these covers. And there was, again, girls sitting with their mothers. They were dressed beautifully. And I thought, oh, here we go again. Because that's the same thing that just happened. Most of the girls I thought were gorgeous and dressed well, and had their mamas with them. And so I thought, well, I'll just sit here because I had nothing else to do. And I was the last one to go in. And the woman who ran the New Faces division, her name was Marita. And she said to me, can you wait here? She said, I want to show your pictures to someone. I'm thinking, oh, she's showing it to them so they can laugh at me or say, what were you thinking? Or, and I'm like, because here I am, 15. She came back and she basically said, we think you're a diamond in the rough. And I said, really? And she said, yeah, you're a diamond in the rough. I said, okay. She said, but we are going to need to meet your father. And I thought, oh, crap, there's no way I'm going to get my Croatian bus driver from the Bronx father up here. But somehow I convinced him. And he did come like maybe weeks later, and he was in his bus driver uniform. We were talking to John Casablancas, which was just one of the most amazing playboys from Spain. He owned the agency, we knew all the models. And we were sitting at his desk. I'm telling you, it's going to be a movie because think about it. So it's like he had this huge desk. There's covers of like Paulina and Cheryl Tiegs and Christy Brinkley and all the top models. We love you, Johnny. And I'm sitting there with my father. He's in his bus driver uniform. He's looking down, shaking his head. And he's just like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the real thing. And he's telling about how you start your career and what you're going to need. And I'm just like, "Ugh." And my dad's like, oh no, is this, what kind of shit is this? Is this some kind of look? I don't know. Anyway, and I'm just like, Dad. And he just said, I'm not giving you people any money. If something happens to my daughter, I'm going to take someone out. And he said it with actually a little bit more French, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm like, just, so I come back into the city. I do some, they call them testing photography. They come out phenomenal. I don't even recognize myself. And then I start going on appointments. And long story short, by the time I hit 16, I had two Vogue covers. I got booked to go to Europe. I had a lot of expenses in the beginning. They advanced me money when I needed it for things because dad wouldn't pay. He didn't have it anyway. And then I did like my first big catalog job, which was like 2 weeks of catalog, which paid off all my debt. I got booked for French Vogue and English Vogue in Europe. I got the covers. I came back. And boom, boom, boom. By the time I was 16, I was just working constantly. And I actually stopped going to school because I was never in school. So that's when it started. So especially 16 through about, 21, I was just constantly going. I did get to see the world. and I got to be very independent, and so it was a blessing. But I never really thought of myself as a model. I thought I was just doing a really good job to fool everyone.
Oh, that's interesting. I so
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
I'm curious like what your biggest takeaways from that time of your life were.
Okay, so the biggest takeaway is that, well, first of all, traveling and what traveling does to every part of you. Just being able to go to different countries and see completely different mindsets, completely different landscapes, completely different food. Just the way that is, I just think you need to travel as young, get your kids traveling as young as you can so they can see that the world is really, we are co-creators. And so there isn't, you grow up in the same town your whole life, you think this is how it is. No, there is so many ways to live this one and only life. So I would say that is a big takeaway from modeling, as well as how, for me, letting other people see me, dress me, do my hair, do my makeup, photographers, it gave me like, they saw me in a way I wasn't able to. I didn't have the lens. So I would look at these photographs and I would be like, wow, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of like that way with my hair or that kind of makeup or what that clothes would do. And so it was like a portal into seeing myself in a whole new way through artists, because the stylists and the makeup artists and the photographers are truly artists. So I was like their canvas, and I got to experience those just to be the art literally for them. And so that was really cool. I'm like, oh, I can look like, I can be this. I can turn myself into that girl that they need me to be in that moment. So that was really cool to be able to practice that on the daily, because I didn't walk around like that all the time. There were girls that walked around like that all the time. I didn't. I really didn't. I wanted to be in my sweatpants and my t-shirts and no makeup on. And I actually bought a farmhouse when I was 17 out far away from the city so I could just go and just lay on the grass and just not have makeup on. But there were girls, I would watch them. I'm like, she is a model. She looks like that 24/7. That's just who she is. And I can look like that and I enjoy it, but I also have to get down and dirty and not, actually, you know what? I have to say, in these years, I feel like it is natural for me to be a little bit more dressed up and a little bit more accessorized, because it is who I am now. And it wasn't as much when I was a teenager, even in my 20s. But now I feel like it is. And I don't think it's good or bad to be either way. I really don't. So that was another like awareness that it brought me, was that you really can create your like how you're portraying yourself through all these things, hair, makeup, jewelry, things, and it can be your signature, and it can really elevate your experience as a human, especially if you're bringing in more beauty. So that's what I learned, because I was kind of more of a, like, let's just get down and dirty, let's plant, let's play with the animals, let's build something, let's go catch frogs. Like, I was more of a tomboy, so it helped me grow into my femininity. So that would be it, the traveling. And then, of course, that beauty is power. I mean, I was making more money than my father within 6 months, because beauty is so revered. And and I think it has definitely a negative side to it, right? Because they are trying to sell us products and create this image of perfection, which I'm not all about that. But with the right intention, creating art through the feminine form is beautiful. We have to be careful, just like the phones, just like fire. It can easily be twisted into a control mechanism and a way to keep women disempowered. So with my photography these days, it's all about empowering women, but it has been used the other way. And I just want to bring awareness to the fact that we are so much more than our outer beauty, but our outer beauty and our essence is part of what it is to be a beautiful woman. So let some women know that without it being a negative, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's an identity. Like your image is a part of your identity whether you want to acknowledge that or not, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I totally get what you're saying. It's like when you're embodied in that and you're not accepting the projections maybe from the external world of what they
Mm.
think or what they want out of you, and you just embody who you are and let that reflect outward. I think that that is a complete shift in your power, like stepping into your power more fully as a woman.
Yeah, and I really didn't, I wasn't familiar with it. I was brought up by people that were surviving. And so I liked it. When I saw the fashion mags, I liked it, but it was such a far reach that I had to grow into it. And modeling certainly showed me like, wow, this is a job. To do someone's makeup is a job. This person is very successful. They're creating art. I'm like, you would think a job is, driving a bus, being a farmer, whatever. These are the things that were in my scope. And by being in the modeling and seeing, well, this person's a photographer, they make a lot of money and they get to create art. Like, so it put me more into the arts. And then over time, because it wasn't familiar to me, but over time, I've grown to really love this whole thing about, as women, we get to embellish ourselves. We get to, oh, I love these earrings, or, I want to put that little bit of color on my lips, or or whatever it is, like something that makes you feel beautiful, not because you have to look beautiful on the outside, but because it really truly makes you feel beautiful inside. So that was something I grew into. And I think that modeling certainly helped me to recognize that within myself because I didn't see what they saw. And then when they take a picture of me, I'd go, oh, who is that? Oh my gosh, that's me. So that was a really, really cool thing. It definitely was, there's a lot of negative things about the modeling world, but I also would like to talk about the positive things. It's very empowering for a woman to make that kind of money from her beauty, and to be, desired and paid well to be beautiful. Like that's pretty cool. It really helped me to change my life in so many ways because money is energy and it helps. It
I was
helps a
going to
lot. Yeah.
ask, yeah, I was going to ask you, like, was it hard? I guess, was it hard for you to be making more money just because you didn't have, it wasn't like your natural state growing up? Did you find navigating the financial part difficult, or was it easy? What was that like?
Oh, what was that like? I feel like if I'm really honest, I felt like this has to happen because I need this. No one is going to do this for me. So it was like a prayer of, I have to have this, like this has to happen. And I was so focused on it, um, you know, to just really do like this is an opportunity. And I took so many bookings. Like I took every booking. Like I know, oh, I'm taking this month off. I was just like, if a booking came in, I was like so grateful to get that booking. And I can see pros and cons of that now. But I was just so grateful. I was so grateful. And I really saved a lot in the beginning. I didn't really spend a lot in the beginning. I would go to the bank with my checks, and my highlight of my week or every couple of weeks was having the teller tell me how much money I had in the bank. And I was like 16. I was just like, oh, that's like the best thing ever. Like I loved their face because I was very young, and I loved it. I love having that security. I love having money in the bank. Like I realized I really I really this is very empowering. So did it feel weird? It felt good. It felt really good until this day. It still does. And I think that women need to talk more about money and the fact that we like money and we want money because money is energy. What can you do without money? So let's take I think more women need to talk about money and more women need money, and need to be paid what they deserve to be paid. And if we're not going to talk about it and we're going to pretend that we don't want money or money's not part of it, I don't think you're telling the truth. Because what can you do without money,
I love
right?
that. I love that because I agree. And I also think there's a common narrative or rhetoric out there where people try to like shame women who are vocal about like desires, especially when it comes around career or finance. And I'm like, it says a lot more about you if you get triggered by the person who's able to be brave enough to speak it out loud.
Yeah.
So I am curious, do you feel like, how do I want to ask this? Do you feel like your relationship with the energy of money has changed? Or do you feel like that
Mm.
experience like set you up for a very different relationship energetically with the financial part than maybe would have happened otherwise? I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it does. So I think that I can see now, one of the beautiful things about getting older is you can really start to see the patterns and the chords of things. So I think being sensitive and having those experiences when I literally went through a portal of seeing eternity, I think that's what changed the vibration of me to be able to call in that kind of money, which was way more than anyone else in my family had, or my father, my parents, right? So because now I knew that there was no end to things and there was eternity. So I think that opened that up. So the money coming in, that's how it connected.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, and,
I
and I think the rest of the question was, how is it now for me?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that okay? So I think I've always been open to push the envelope on things and take risks, which is what I'm still doing today. I'm having huge shifts in my life. You know, I'm leaving partnership after 20, almost 30 years. So it's definitely reawakened some of those, very root um, experiences of my life, because I was brought up with in a lack childhood. You know, it was always like we just had enough, we just had enough. So I'm revisiting with those from a new place of wisdom. But yeah, it's funny how what I have to say is I definitely have this realm of possibility, this realm of calling in, but that first programming, your original programmers, you have to always be aware. I think, well, at least my experience is even now in my 50s, that it can still come up. And you still have to nurture that inner child, that first root, that first original programming in you. It can sneak in when you're having huge shifts in your life. I'm having huge shifts in my life, and I started realizing, like, oh, there's something I don't want to visit with here. And I had to do some deep dives again back into a little bit of the muck that I didn't think I had to. And it humbles you, actually. And I think it's good because there's more growth there, because all growth happens in the darkness. All seeds are planted in the earth first before they, right? So,
Mhm.
and big shifts in your life invite you back to your darkness. And a lot of times we numb, or we dishonor it, or we ignore it. So I can't say that I'm cured of it and I'm just calling in all this abundance all the time. I mean, I still do, and it amazes me, but I still have to nurture my original programming and that inner child that grew up in lack. I still have to visit with her. I still cannot completely ignore her. And I think the more that I do, again, the contrast creating the clarity, that's where the growth is, the darkness, the womb space. We have to still visit that. I don't know, maybe there'll be a day where I'm only up in the ethers and in the light all the time. But I think that we have to appreciate the darkness, and that makes our joy and our light and our wisdom stronger, that we are aware of where we have our triggers and where we have our our soft spots. So that's where I'm at with it now. But I still live a very abundant life, and I'm just so grateful all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we talk about all the time in our ascension work. Ascension is not choosing light over everything else. Ascension is about integrating and balancing it all, because source, we're a part of source, and source wants to experience it all. That means I can hold the heartbreak and I can hold the love. I can have joy and I can have pain. And how can I continue to integrate all of that and exist within all of that? Like that really is the human existence.
Yes, we want the whole experience, right? We don't want to be numbed out. We don't want to be bypassing a bunch. So we want the whole experience. And there's people that kind of go like, and depending on what their capacity is, they'll be like, oh, don't do that. Like that's not good. Or it's like, but yeah, I am one to believe that my joy is heightened when I can also visit with my darkness. And I try to show that. Like I'm trying to show that even more and more with, my social media and what I'm curating, to really show up real. Like, yeah, there are days where I'm so blissed out and happy, and I love showing that, of course. But you know what? What about when I'm having one of those moments where my heart's cracking open and the tears are coming? That's part of it. I cannot feel that joy, truthfully, if I haven't felt my heart cracking open too. And so I want to be authentic on both sides. So I think it's really important to show that the darkness, like you said, we have to visit with both, but it's where we choose to continue to focus. There are people that will focus on their darkness, and they want to let any light in. Um, and that's not good either, right? So we visit, we see it, and then we go back into the light.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I do want to ask you about becoming a retreat leader and what led
Mm.
you to start hosting retreats for women.
Okay, so that came in meditation. Again, contrast. So my kids are growing up. I want to. I want. I always. I've loved the idea of being an entrepreneur. I love the idea of starting your own thing. And I remember having one of those days where I was like, "Yeah, what can I do?" I modeled, but that was a long time ago. I've had 3 kids. They're growing up now. I didn't really go to college. I don't. I mean, I was mostly at home, and I had this "woe is me" moment, right? And then I had this voice saying, "What do you really love? What do you really love?" And I'm like, the things that I love are travel, wellness, beautiful homes. Those are the things that light me up the most, and nurturing others. So it's like, you're an expert at this. Don't you really? Like, this voice was literally downloading on me. You are a mother of 3 children. You've created so many beautiful houses in your life. You understand travel. And I understand being in groups of people that don't know each other, or I don't know them, because modeling trained me for this. Every week was a different crew, and you were in all different places. So you were having breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the makeup artist, the stylist, the hairdresser, the assistants, right? People, but you became this little family for a week. And so when I started to see the parallels, I'm like, there's really nothing else that I could do with my time. And then for me, like, I started in Mexico because I needed a place to go and slow down and heal after the pandemic, losing my father, just going through, like, raising kids, just life in general, so many things, to slow down. And so that's when I went to Mexico, and I fell absolutely in love with it. So now here I am. I have this beautiful home, and I'm starting to bring friends down, and they're literally sitting on the couch, and they're looking at me saying, "What did you do to us? I haven't been this relaxed in my whole life." And I'm like, this is just what I do. Like, this is my life, and this is how I want to live. And so, how can I turn my joy, what I love, into being sustainable, and also an offering to help the world, right? Because we want to have a higher purpose. And so I realized, like, I have something here. So I said, I'm going to do a retreat. I started talking to people. I think I put it on a few platforms. And my first one was like, and this is also right when COVID was ending, and nobody was really doing them yet because people were too afraid. And I wasn't. I was like, I just wasn't afraid. So it was like, it filled up like so quickly. And I really know Mexico. I know the best cenotes. I had a great chef. Obviously, I know my house really well. I have a beautiful housekeeper at my house who helps me. So I knew that she would help me take care of the ladies. And we made a beautiful breakfast. I showed her, like, this is a wellness breakfast. So she was able to do that. I had a chef. So I was able to really cultivate this experience because I'm there and I have a home. So I think with retreat leaders, it's really hard to cultivate a space. Like, you have to go there, or you have to depend on the retreat center doing what you'd like. But I was really able to make it personalized and really authentic and really embody this experience, because it's what I was doing for, like, that time, maybe a year before I did it. And so it was like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. This is what and also I was going to use all these modalities that literally saved my life. Yoga saved my life. Breath work saved my life. I love doing Reiki on people. I love touching people's heads with my hands. I do that during yoga. And I also do Reiki sessions. I've recently learned sound healing. And I thought, well, I'm gonna do those things. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I did it. And it was beyond what I imagined it would be. Because I do believe that, especially now, we're hearing more and more women are being called back to gather for these experiences, to be in our feminine, to be heard and seen. There are certain, like, it took me a long time to realize that I love men and I love children, but I was trying to get something out of them that I could only get through sisterhood, that I could only get through women. And I have sisters, so I was always like, oh, I have sisters. Oh, that cup's full. I don't know. Like, that's old hat, right? Because I'm so used to having 4 sisters. And it was almost like, oh, the men and the children, that's where I'm going to focus. That's where the real value is. And now I'm back to, like, no, it was always the women. The women, we need each other. We need to connect. We need oxytocin. A woman can hold a space for a woman, like, and not to say that men don't hold space and they're not amazing. They are, but it's a different nurturing. And so when you sit in circle with women and you really hold presence, I just think we're elevating the whole planet. And so when I started doing that, I was like, oh, this is it. This is my next phase. I did the maiden, I did the modeling, I did the motherhood, and now I'm doing the magic, and with the women. So that's how I came to do retreats. Yeah, it's really the thing that I love the most. Yeah.
That's amazing, and I think you're right about the sisterhood or bringing women together and sitting in circle. I mean, for too long have we like operated as a society in a system in which women were not good to other women. And now it's almost like we're at that turning point where everything's changing and it's the exact
Yes.
opposite. So I think it's needed right now. I think Earth needs it. I think women need it.
Yeah.
And it's great that we have people that are able to lead that right now.
Well, I literally, so I would go down to Mexico. There was a lot of like, full moon circles, fires on the beach, like a lot of stuff. And I remember coming back to California because I don't stay in Mexico all year. I stay like 5 months and thinking like, oh, I just need to find, there must be a community there and like praying about it and like thinking, oh, it'd be so great. And then my friend Kelowna, who I've done quite a few retreats, she uses essential oils quite a bit. And I literally got a text from her the minute I landed, and she said, I'm doing a meditation with oils at my house. Would you want to come? And I was like, yes, I do. So I went to hers, and it was wonderful women, and it felt so good. And then literally like a week later, I was just so I have a voice and I've recognized it now as my father's father. I did some work with a beautiful healer from Mexico, and so I get this voice, and it's so clear. And she said, "Well, that's probably not angels or even, but it's probably an ancestor and not one that's too far back." And she helped me when she said, "Is it Nicola?" And I was like, "Oh my God, it is." And she said, "That's your father's father." So every once in a while, he speaks to me very clearly. And it always is like exactly, even if it doesn't make sense, it's always spot on. And I kept him saying, start a circle, start a circle, start a circle at your house. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I don't know. So I got this mandala blanket. And then I just texted like 6 women I thought might come. They all said yes right away. I was like, okay. And then I just, so now my circles are very intricate. And I love taking the whole day to like what colors are coming in, what elements from the earth do I want to use, all this. So I love creating a circle. But I didn't have all those things and I wasn't doing that yet. But I put this cloth down, I had a mandala. I went out and I got some white rose petals. Maybe I put a few crystals down. And then I was like, okay. And then everyone came over and I remember everyone was sitting down in a circle and I remember going, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be so great. And then I went, oh, wait, I have to facilitate. I was so ready to just sit down and like be held by the circle. And then I went, oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. So then I sat down, I spoke of my intention. I thanked everyone for coming because gratitude is a huge part of being in circle. And then I did a little meditation. I probably played my rattle or something that I had. I didn't have as much then. This is like literally like 4 years ago. And each woman came with so much story, magic. One woman even brought her drum. One woman started talking in tongues, and I didn't know she could do that. My friend Kelowna was there. She shared her oils, and it was phenomenal. And all I had to do was hold the intention and the space and let the women show up. And I think that was even before I did my first retreat. And I was like, this is magic. This is magic. I just have to set the intention. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to have it planned. I just, like you were saying in the beginning, like what's being called in this moment. And it's always beyond magical and beyond what you could ever imagine. It's so much fun. So much fun. Yeah.
I love it. And question, okay, how do you decide where to hold the retreats?
Well, I have to feel home. I
Mm.
have to feel home. And maybe that will change. But the first thing was this is my home in Mexico. It is a retreat house. I know that I can hold space for people here. I don't want to invite anyone in um, to something that they're spending their time and their money on, and I can't feel 100% embodied and know that I can deliver it. Right. So I started in my home. Because, when you get to a retreat center or you rent a place, you have a couple hours before I could really
Yeah.
dive in. I set up circle for myself a few times and just sat in circle with candles, with the whole thing, with the music, and it's funny because I had met this woman and she's a retreat leader now too. Her name is Raisa. and she had just done her teacher training. We met. I told her about my house. Someday I want to do retreats. So it was the second time I just put on a beautiful ceremony for myself with the circle, and I had candles going, and I had this beautiful music going in the house. I had these great speakers. And she sent me a message like, I want to come by and see the house. And I thought she was going to come by or not come by. And I'm like, okay. So she walks in and she's like, what are you doing? She's like, what's up? So I was just doing a little circle for myself. And so I said, come in and join me. And she did. And I did some energy work on her, and I gave her some messages that were coming in very strong about like souls trying to come with her and stuff. And she just was like, that was amazing. And actually she's now done 3 retreats at my house, like years later. So it was just really interesting that we both got activated, and I just started to embody what I wanted to call in. And that's really manifestation right there, right? What do I want to feel? Do I want to feel abundant? Think abundantly. Do I want to call in women to a circle? Do circles for yourself. Feel the gravity of the intention of making beautiful space and sitting in presence with music, with candles, with flowers. And so start doing that yourself, right? And that's kind of how it started. So it started with Mexico. Then it started with another place in Mexico, San Miguel Allende, because when I go there, the people that own the hotel, I got to know them really well, their family, and I know it. And then well, Croatia was the first one, was last year, because I feel home here. I know the island. I found an amazing villa that I know the owner. So for me, I choose it because I feel home, I feel embodied, and I feel secure, and that I can really offer something because I've experienced it. I don't want to call people into something I haven't experienced. That's just my way. So that's how I choose. Yeah.
Amazing. No, I'm so excited. I think that's a really interesting I think it's an interesting way to pick locations too. It makes sense though. It really
But we're coming
does.
home to ourselves. Retreat is to return. So you're taking this intentional space to return back to yourself, to experience, to get new downloads, to get new information. And so it's coming home. So how can I invite you home to yourself if I'm not feeling at home? Now, I know that there are people that can do it. They'll fly across the world, they'll rent out a retreat center, they'll call women in, and they can do it. And I'm not saying you can't do it. But my way is to really be there for a long time, really get the codes myself. Um, and I think maybe part of that reason is that I'm the first one in my generational line to do this. So I need to be rooted extra because I don't have, maybe there's a woman whose mother and grandmother did the work and they've held circle in their lineage before, and they can go anywhere and just boom, maybe that's it. But for me, I got to really sit there and root in deeply. But then there's a beautiful energy to that too, right? So if it resonates with you, you're going to hear the call and you're going to come. There's so many ways to do it. They're all good, but that's my way. That's definitely my way. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think it's time for a little spiritual game of this or
Oh,
that.
okay. I love this. I'm gonna put my
Oh,
glasses on so I can see you guys. I want to see the
yeah.
facial expressions here. Okay. Glasses are going
So we'll
on.
give you yeah, we will give you two options and you're gonna tell us we'll do it with all three of us, but which one you would choose. Okay.
Ooh, this is so fun.
So
Okay.
first one is tarot cards or oracle cards.
Oracle. Yeah, I love Oracle cards.
I'm
Yeah.
an
Oracle. Oracle.
oracle all the way.
Yeah.
Tarot's great, but tarot is too it's too structured for me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't do structure. I don't
Okay.
understand it. I don't understand
Yeah.
it.
Pendulum or dowsing rods?
Pendulum. Love pendulum. Yeah.
I think pendulum as well. Yep, pendulum. If it's energy work, I would do pendulum.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, spirits or interdimensional beings?
Spirits.
Really?
Spirits. I
I'm gonna
think
go
spirits. Yeah.
interdimensional
Yeah.
beings all the way. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
all I talk to now. Channel now.
I want to learn this from you two, actually. I'm excited. I'm excited to get these downloads too. I'm
We
so
will be,
excited.
we will definitely be deep diving in Croatia together.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Physically and metaphorically, we will be.
Yes.
Yes.
And crystals or Reiki?
That's so hard. Oh. I mean, to me, they're like, I use them both at the same time. Um, gosh, that's so hard. I guess I'll say, it's such a 50-50. I'll say 49% crystals, 51% Reiki. How about that?
I
That's my
love that.
answer. Because it's like,
Yeah, it is. I think I would go crystals, but that's because I don't like do traditional
Yeah.
Reiki, so I feel like that's why I would do crystals. Same with me, crystals, but I don't practice Reiki myself. I'll do energy
mm,
work and stuff, but
yeah.
crystals, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you do Reiki with the crystals, that's really how it works.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's what I do. I use my crystals when I'm doing Reiki. So if I'm doing a session, that's when yeah, because they're on the same vibration. Yeah.
Full moon or new moon?
Full moon. Yeah.
I'm a full
I'm
moon
kind of
too.
a crazy person at the full moon, but I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I love the full moon.
I feel the full moon a lot more than I do the new moon, and I just find it, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I do like it better. Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
I know. It's so activating. You can't sleep for days. And then you need that dark part of the moon so you can actually rest. And then you start to slowly wake up again. Yeah, it's such a beautiful, I love when people call me lunar. I'm like, thank you. That's such a compliment.
Oh,
You're lunar. I'm like, thank you. Yes.
tuning
Mm.
fork or singing bowls?
I use both, but I'd have to say singing bowls. And you know what? I can't tell you how much I miss my bowls. I haven't played I usually play them morning and night. I have a set in Mexico, I have a set in California, and I haven't played my bowls, and I'm missing them so much because there's something about just playing the bowls, drinking tea and playing my bowls before I go to bed when I wake up in the morning. It clears the energy, it moves things in, it opens your portal to the divine. And whew, so yeah, just saying the words singing bowls makes me, just my heart go, oh, I miss them. So yeah, for me it would be, even though I do travel with a tuning fork. It's a little
Okay.
one. So I love the tuning forks too, but the crystal bowls are really my fave. Yeah.
Same for us. We do tuning fork. We have a small one for travel. And we don't. Lacey's actually never done singing bowls. Like we've actually never had a traditional sound healing ever. So yeah, every time we
Come
go
to
to something,
California. I do them pretty much
yeah.
every month. Come, come, come. Actually, I'm doing an 8-8 portal 1-day retreat at my house in Encinitas,
Oh,
and there
cool.
will definitely be a sound bath at the end of that. So, yeah, anybody out there want to come to
Yeah.
Encinitas for a 1-day retreat? I have that going on as well. Yeah, I mean, I'll be back on like July 12th, so it'll give me a minute to be rooted. And then, yeah, I love the 8-8 portal. I think it's such a special time. So, yeah, and I will be definitely playing my bowls. Definitely. Yeah.
Meditating or journaling?
Meditating. Yeah,
I'm
because you can do it
meditating too.
anywhere. If you don't have your journal, sometimes you don't have it or whatever, or you just whatever, it's dark or whatever. You can always just you can always just drop into meditation. Yeah. I
Yeah,
meditate more
absolutely.
than I journal. I want to do more
Same.
journaling though. That is a intention I'm trying to set to do more, everyday journaling. I'm putting that out there that's coming in, that I spend more time doing that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a meditator too. I'd rather do
Yeah.
that than journal, but
Yep.
okay, last one. Burning incense sticks or burning the loose leaf herbs?
Well, I really like Gopal. So what would that fall under? Um,
I have no idea. Is that
so
like a resin?
probably, yeah, it's like a petrified piece of wood.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Mm.
so what would that fall under? So maybe the dried over the
Yeah,
incense. 'Cause with incense, sometimes they put, you know, not all of them, but some of them aren't pure. You know what I mean? They put in
Yeah.
some fragrance or something. So unless I know they're really pure, I will just try, do sage or Palo Santo or copal or even a frankincense resin or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, us too. We're more of a loose leaf. Get the charcoal puck going and
Yeah.
throw we grow our own white sage too. So like we'll
Oh,
dry and bundle our own um
that's
and
amazing.
get that going. So yeah, it was a gift and then it thrives under our care, which people think is crazy because like we live in a really harsh winter state, but I'm like,
Mm.
I can't explain it. Like it just thrives under our care, and like it always grows for us. Like we just, yeah. So
Yeah, well, you could because that plant ally knows that you're doing the work. So plant allies are here to support us on our path, right? So the frequency match is there, so it's going to thrive. So there you go. That's just the universe. That's just the universe, Mother Earth, just doing what it does, always supporting us.
One
Yeah.
last question before we close out, because we do a ton of work with Twin Essence surrounding mission and purpose. I am curious what you consider your mission and purpose in this lifetime.
My mission and purpose. Well, it's definitely to evolve from fear and lack into beauty and unconditional love. And every trial I've been through is humbling me into that to, and it's not easy, right? But yeah, I think just to go from that fear, from that lack into beauty and abundance, overflow and healing and love. That's it. Yeah.
Amazing. And how can people get in touch with you?
I would say really easily on my Instagram. I have a link tree on there. I have my website on there. Send me a DM. And I call people through Instagram all the time. My poor kids, like, Mom, you're not supposed to do that. I'm like, I'm not supposed to do, I don't know that those words don't make any sense to me. If I like somebody and I think they're doing cool work and I want to collaborate, I will reach out and I will call them, send them a voice message. So, yeah, just send me a message, and yeah, it's meant to be. We'll connect. And I have my offerings for my retreats. So I'm actually, once I'm back in California, then I put everything up. So I'm getting all my dates together for my Mammoth retreat in the end of September, another retreat in November in Mexico, and then a February retreat in Mexico, April retreat in San Miguel de Allende, which is central Mexico, and then again, I'll be back in Croatia again in June. So I live by the triangle of Mexico, Croatia, and California. And those are the places that really, well, that I have roots and that feel like home. So that's where I'll be. And I will be calling women to come and gather with me for adventure, for healing, for deep connection, for being activated by these portals in the earth that have certainly activated my heart, and just to remember who we are and to elevate the planet. Because when women get empowered, the whole planet heals, and we're being called to that. You can see women, it's been only 60 years that women could have their own mortgages, their own credit cards, all these things. It's only been what we've done in 60 years is freaking amazing. And we're calling up the masculine, because now that we're up leveling, right? And it's causing some friction, right? But that's what happens. It's like when you remodel a house, right? The demo is terrible, but the remodel is so great after. So we're in a little bit of a demo phase right now. And women really need to know that they're supported and see other women doing the work and do it side by side and have these places where you're truly getting a recharge of your battery. And that's what, yeah. So that's what I do. That's my offering. And yeah, come and play. Come out and play. Let's play together.
Awesome. And we will be in Croatia with her in a couple weeks, and there will be a Starseed travel vlog that will be on our YouTube channel probably in July. But
Wow.
because we always like to document parts of our travel journeys and reflections so that we can share them with the world.
I am
Um,
so grateful for both of you to see me, to recognize me, to say yes to the offering. I have so much gratitude. I have not met you in person yet. I have so much gratitude and love for you already. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm just so full of gratitude for you. Yeah. Mhm.
I will receive that. Yeah, I receive. I'm excited. So everybody, you'll have to be staying tuned in because we'll probably be sharing on Instagram. Obviously, after the retreat is finished, we'll eventually get that vlog up and you'll be able to check out what came through for us while we spend time in Croatia with Sandra. Um, yeah. And then
I'm
our
so
membership.
excited. I have to like stay in my body because sometimes I get so excited. I'm like, okay, you have to stay grounded because there are logistics, right? And so that's why everything's done way in advance, because I get so excited. I turn into like a 5-year-old sometimes, because it's just, there's so much joy to be had. This lights me up in so many ways. So I'm just staying grounded, doing my yoga every day, getting in the ocean, getting more and more of just all the little things. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us live. Anyone viewing, you are welcome to check out Sandra. All of her links are in the video description below.
Oh,
And
thank
if you
you.
enjoyed this conversation, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. You can also connect with Lacey and I on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at Twinessence LLC. And if you want to
Amazing.
receive any of our transmissions from Croatia, we recommend you jump into the Starseed Portal membership, because that is the group that will receive that access to us in our private WhatsApp space. If you are looking to connect with us to uncover your starseed origins and mission and purpose, we recommend you check out a twin magic reading, which can be booked at twinessence.com. And we will see you all in July with new guests for Between Dimensions.
Yay. Thank you again for having me. I so enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.